Hello, welcome to yet another guitar channel. I'm Anjay. This is the NewX B7-Pro in-ear wireless monitoring system thing. And I'm going to talk about it because it's cool. So why am I talking about in-ear monitoring? I'm a guitar channel, I play guitar. Well, yes, I do. However, I also gig. And I've noticed over the last year of gigging or so that I'm getting a bit of tinnitus. And I'm not really enjoying wearing earplugs. So I wear earplugs to protect my hearing, but I find the earplugs muffle a lot of the sound. So over the course of the gig, the earplugs tend to drop out, and that's probably why I'm starting to feel some effects of it. So normal setup is a wedge monitor in front with the mix in it, and then earplugs to dull the sound a bit. Now the problem with this is, like I said, it does dull the sound. You do lose some top end frequencies, and it can feel a bit muffled, and you start to feel a bit distant and isolated from everything. So my singer in the band said, try in-ear monitoring. He's been using it for years and loves it. I had a look around. I saw the B7 Pro. I used the B8 Pro or B8 wireless guitar system, which I love and I've reviewed on the channel before. I reached out to NewX and said, hey, would I be able to try one and see if I like it? And they said, yeah, sure. Send it over. So I'm not being paid for this, but I have been given this unit. So the review is not paid for, but I do get to keep the unit. The opinion, however, is my own. So I'm going to talk about this, show you a little bit of the functionality. I can't really demo anything with it, but I'll just talk you through it and show you it and give you my kind of pros and cons of using this, and also wireless in-ear monitoring in general. So what is it? Well, it is a transmitter and receiver. It runs on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency range. It's reading off here, 2,400 to 2,483.5 megahertz with frequency hopping. It has a 50-meter range, which, looking at this, is 165 feet. Both of these are rechargeable. So this is rechargeable, and then this recharges off the top of it. Sticks on with a little magnet and recharges off the top of it. It takes a 9-volt power supply to recharge or just to run in general. This has a USB-C to allow you to recharge, update firmware, and also, interestingly, record from. It's an audio interface. You have stereo input. Left is mono, right and left are stereo, obviously. You have an auxiliary in, which means you can plug like a computer into it or a stereo into it or something like that. You have a direct headphones in for if the battery runs out on this, or you just got it on your desk and using it as an audio interface. And then some menu buttons. And then this here is your receiver. Again, like I said, rechargeable. It has a headphone socket specifically for IEMs. Important to remember, this takes IEMs, which is slightly different. You have a volume and an off control and a little belt clip and a USB-C charger. When you switch this on, so I was going to press the on button and you'll see it spring to life. There we go. It's currently it's at an angle to, if you put it straight on, it starts to fuzz up a little bit. It's now searching. I now switch this on by holding the on button. You get a green light. You get another light flashing. That goes green. This is connected. So as you can see on here, we can see the input and the output volumes, we can see the wireless strength, and we can see the battery charge. This was used at a gig the other day for 3 or so hours. I haven't charged it since then. This has been sat on top recharging, so this has full battery. This is on about half battery now. So it's about a 6-hour battery life overall. This unit has a few menu options, so we're going to go into those now. First one is just pure volume. So I don't know if you, yeah, we go. I'm just trying to get it to show up nicely. So you can see I'm changing the overall volume here. If I then go on to this and start pressing the buttons on here, you'll see the volume also changes. So you've got complete control of the volume going into your ears. If I go into the main menu, you have display, which allows you to change the home screen from sort of dials to bars. I just prefer the bars because I'm old-fashioned. We also have, what's that? boot up picture, so you can like put an animated GIF on there. You have display brightness, that's your lot on there. What's next? That's system info, language, auxiliary level, headphone level, input select. So if I go into that, I can choose stereo or mono. So if it's stereo, you use both XLRs. If it's mono, you use the left. And then you have, actually probably the most useful feature, the transmitter strength. So you can have between low latency, in the middle, and stable. And all that means is that low latency means that your imperceivably different level of latency for some people who might be able to notice it, but slightly less stability on the wireless network, all the way up to stable, where you do get a little bit of latency. Again, I can't hear it, but it's a much more stable signal. And when I say stable signal, I really mean it, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So all you need to do is plug the XLR into your left or stereo to both of them, switch it on. If it's plugged in, it'll automatically be on. Switch this on, all connects up really quickly, and you're good to go. Obviously, you need to have some earbuds. Like I said, I've got a pair that I bought off Amazon. I'll flash a link, or I'll flash a picture up. They were about £50 and they're pretty good. In practice, there are some things to think about with this. So I've used it 3 times, rehearsal and 2 gigs. Rehearsal, it's flawless. First gig, it kept dropping out, which was weird. So let me explain. I had it set up so it sat right on top of our mixer box. When it was working fine, I had my earbuds in, I went to the loo, I could still hear it. So it seemed like went through 2 walls. However, I made a mistake. I sat it right next to our wireless router, which we have in the mixer box, which is also on the 2.4 range. And what I didn't realise and didn't think about, probably should have done, is that interfered with the unit. Even with all of the channel hopping, it still interfered. And I actually spoke to NewX and said, look, I hate to say it, I had a terrible experience with my gig. It kept dropping out, and I'm a bit worried about that. You know, I don't want to give it a bad review because it seems like a great unit. Have I done something wrong? And they said, right, move it away from that router, because that's probably the problem. Because even though it's a really good wireless unit, if you've got something very strong, it wipes everything else out. And actually, we didn't only have the wireless router on there, we also had 2 other wireless transmitters, both of which were on particularly high frequencies and very strong. So for the second gig, I did exactly that. I moved it a few feet to the side of the box. And for the rest of the gig, I had no problems. That second gig, I played, said 3 hours of using the unit, not one bit of dropout throughout the entire time. I was really impressed. The clarity coming from the unit was great. Obviously, what you're hearing in your ears will depend very much on the earphones you're using and the mix you've got. The unit itself didn't mess with that. I could just change the volume and adjust it. If like one of the instruments jumped up in volume suddenly, I could turn it down from the transmitter, from the receiver. So as long as it's in the right place, it's phenomenal. Now, to that point, it actually, I haven't got the adapter in front of me, but it has got like a little clip-on thing here that allows you to stick it directly onto your microphone stand. So obviously the optimum way of using this is it's on the microphone stand, you have the XLR running back to the mixer, and it's never that far away from you. And actually, there is a lot of logic to that, because you want to be wireless so you can move away from wires and move away from the unit. So obviously the closer the unit is to where your microphone stand is, the closer you are to where you're going to be moving out to probably as well. So the closer you can have that to you, the better. But like I said, it does work up to about 50 meters on the stable mode. And I found once it was all set up properly, absolutely no latency. Well, I mean, they reckon there's latency. I couldn't hear it. And no dropouts at all. All in all, I am extremely impressed. This little receiver sits out of the way on my belt clip. It's got the volume control. Also, if you press and hold the off button for a second, it mutes as well, which is quite handy. The receiver, the transmitter isn't massive, but it's solid, it's metal. Again, sit it to the side of your anything with other signals and it works absolutely flawlessly. I'm overall really impressed with it, very happy with it, and this will be what I use at gigs from now on. Like I said, if you're a guitarist and you're playing live, you've got to protect your hearing, and you're either going to use earbuds, which do have some, earplugs which have some downsides, or you're going to want to look for in-ear monitoring. This is not the cheapest unit on the market. This is a couple of £100, if not slightly more. But for that, you get a fully wireless system. Like I said, I'm really happy with it. I'm very impressed with it. I'll be using it from now on. Big thank you to NewX for sending it over. But yeah, looking for wireless, looking for a step up from some of the cheaper units, looking for good in-ear monitoring transmitter and receiver, I recommend wholeheartedly checking out the NewX B7 Pro. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Let me know in the comments what you're using. Let me know what earbuds you're using, what in-ear monitoring buds you're using. Like I said, I'm using a £50 pair that I got off Amazon. They're pretty good, but I'd love to know what you're using and what you like. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.